That's awesome. You know, each response you gave, you know, like the second half, like as you were warming up to it, I was hearing like perfect. I didn't even want to make a sound because it would like the, you know.
Hopefully not too much of it runs on and there'll be some little clips in there.
Well, yeah, we're gonna thread, you know, you'll have, I mean, you've seen stuff like What the Bleep Do We Know, where they do just like, you see that same person like 4 times throughout the documentary.
So this is going to be a full-blown,
fully dynamic. Because the lamest documentaries only have like 4 or 5 people they've interviewed and maybe like 10 locations.
I found that
we have
one
a
you
lot.
told me about.
Yeah.
Dale's the one that told me about that. It was Greenville, North Carolina. I looked it up.
Oh, you found it? Oh, cool.
Yeah, and like you said, it was boring. Like, it was interesting, but it was boring.
Oh,
like, it was like 5 people, one at a time, for like 10 minutes.
The kid in the dorm was really cool, and it's like, okay, I was done with him in about 1 minute.
Yeah.
But I liked the whole concept of like, this, somehow their documentary comes up really high in the searches.
It has about 4,000 hits.
It's only 4,000
It's only 4,000, but you're right, it does come up, particularly when you put in the local and then music documentary.
Yeah,
like
so I think there's a niche.
We're doing an ADD style one.
Yeah.
We're catering to the short attention span of society
man,
now.
Bam. It's harder to edit, but it's what people want to consume.
We're catering to 2 things, though. The short attention span of society now, and the fact that Facebook and stuff has made everyone so into themselves. So we want to be able to promote everyone so that everyone's like, look, I'm in this documentary, and I want to promote it too because look at what I've said in this. I mean, we're all going to be, it's going to be a group of people all promoting.
Oh, I should have said that. That's a good point. Like the
You
Jason
can
Conley
still say it.
Are we still recording?
I am. I don't usually turn this off.
Yeah, one other idea we were talking about for ways to creatively market yourself is to cross-market by having guest artists either perform with you live or come in and somehow tie your social networks together. So Jason Conley just had Sturgis. What is his name? I cannot remember. He had a world-class adrenaline junkie. God, what is the guy's name? I can't remember his name. Jason Conley had a world-class kayaker come in and rap on his album because he has an amazing social network. He's always wanted to do rapping, and he made a really good rap. And so here's this thing, all of a sudden their networks are crossed over. They were friends, now all their friends are friends. And it's like, whoa, he's got this guy. It's his first time rapping. He's this famous kayaker, you know, and he's passionate about it. We're passionate about it. And now I never knew who this guy was, but he's the bomb, you know. So tying in across platforms, sharing, just collaborating. There's more of a resurgence of collaborating, but to this day, with all this fancy equipment and technology and ability to do stuff in your bedroom, there has been no Sgt. Pepper's recorded in a bedroom by one guy. There has to be collaboration. It makes a better product. It makes it more fun. It makes it more of a human experience. So get out there and collaborate.
Good. That's a good tag team.
Yeah. Get out there and collaborate.
They kept saying that, you know, oh, you can have because you have a 4-track and the video's in a 4-track. Well, that's 30 years that claim's been out. Why not? Because you're not collaborating.
Yeah, so at this point we have the little 10-15 second clips, and we'll get one of you up when we go to the ECC recording, where we'll have you on the kit, drum for a couple seconds, and then be like, I'm Dale Price and I play in Chico. We've had these cameos, and we've got about 30 of those so far.
Yeah, you can say I'm Del Price, owner of Electric Canning Recording Studio, and I play in Chico. That kind of
so
thing.
we got all of those as well.
And they're definitely we're definitely putting all those in because
periodically. So we'll do like a couple sentences from somebody, and then maybe 2 in like, because we're doing these as like long shoots. We'll have everybody line up, and we'll do one long shot and get everybody doing their cameo all in one shot. So then maybe we can do 2 or 3 in a row, and then we'll go back to an interview section and back to cameos. We also plan on rounding it out by kind of mobbing downtown one weekend and stopping random strangers and asking them about music in Chico. you know, who do they know, and then taking the best bits we get from that kind of street survey, throwing that in there. Oh, nice.
That's great, man. Thank you guys for doing this, man. This is just...
I think it's gonna, you know, there's 9 out of 10 people get it right away and are totally stoked, and the 1 out of 10, it's like got to twist their arm to get involved. So.
Well, if they don't, you know, people, if they don't get it, then they're not.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We're gonna give as many opportunities and try to interview different people about all kinds of different music in town, and then at a certain point, it's like if you didn't make it in the 2 months we were recording.
Yeah, and then Doug Stein will be like, "What? I wasn't. How come?"
Precisely.
Did you say Dick Stein?
Doug Stein.
Oh.
Precisely. That's
You
the
know Dick
thing.
Stein?
Well, what's
Professor.
funny about it is because, in fact, I just saw the flyer for the first Electric Canyon, Chico City Limits.
Oh, right.
We did, and he was always complaining to Mike Waltz, who we teamed up to do that. Hey, man, we're not on it. And so finally, the third time, he's like, well, give us something. And so he gives us something, and it's like some party recording. Like, it's not actually a recording from a...
This one's not even worth it. It's not.
It was horrible sounding. It was the worst sounding Robin Ford.
So how did you collect most of these? Just randomly through time?
Yeah, just like I just pull them down and I just started throwing them in a bag. Here's a classic.
That's a good idea to collect.
The classic. So this is the Blue Max. You know, this is the way you had to promote back then. Is you just go down to Kinko's, or before that, Mr. Copy, or one of these places, and you just write something out on pen, and you photocopy it. And Astro.
Do you think this is more effective than the events and stuff on Facebook?
Well, for a long time it wasn't. However, if you were smart, and like we would put them up at ATMs, and you could put a few up in really choice locations.
Yeah, that's true.
And do pretty good. And then Ray's Liquors, certain places had places where you'd see them, so you'd put them up. But just flyering randomly didn't seem to do that much. Using them as handbills. These were for our party. So we'd hand these out as a handbill. It was fun for people to read and put on their fridge. The other thing people used to do was postcards. And they would have all their dates, and it'd make you look like a rock star. Wow, they're playing in Klamath Falls, you know, and then they're going to Ashland or wherever they're playing at. And bands did that in the 90s. And then they stopped doing it. And one band in Chico is doing that now, and it's brilliant because they're always on my fridge. And nobody else is doing it now. So, Green Fuzz. So, we would play the Red and Gray so much that we just started coming up with random names for our bands. Like, and I think it was around St. Patty's Day, so we called ourselves Green Fuzz. We played there so much we couldn't Proton. A lot of times we were Proton Clatter in the John Thomas Review, and so we got together and combined the bands, and we were Proton John. And I don't remember that gig. Smooth. We used to play on 6th and Oleander, and then we were playing at the Top Flight, which was the local meat marker. Not necessarily. Those three were. Okay. Smooth and Pet Xing. This was a gig at the Cherry Pit. I've actually got video from this. The cops came and took our equipment, and the guitar player had some contraband in his guitar case. And they didn't find it, but he was sweating it for a couple days, I gotta tell you. Here's my punk rock band playing at the Palms. And so we just throw these around.
So you used to play around, like, when Vomit Launch was around?
Oh yeah, I know Larry from
during
back then.
that time?
Yep,
okay.
in that era. Penthouse Party, I don't know what that is. Oh, Bone Crushing Love, that's the band where the guy jumped out of the van. Red and Gray, Spare Parts, that was my rhythm and blues band. Oh, so there we go. Camper Van Beethoven, Wrestling Worms, and Brute Max. At Wall Street Center for the Arts. That was a great place that Robin Trenda put together for a while. It was a building that he owned and just made it a non-profit for a while. That's like a local handbill. Here's just stealing Matt Groening's artwork, Life in Hell. We used to always put that on our flyers, and that's the actual flyer. So these were effective actually back in the 80s. There was also a technique we used where we would paint big you'd paint 3 or 4 big signs, and you'd post one at Ray's on the wall. You'd post one on that bench that was in front of Ruby's Cafe, also on the same corner as Ray's. You'd post one at Sacramento and what is that? Warner, West Sac and Warner on the Chico High School fence,
Okay.
and then one at Citrus and Warner. And you could put 4 of those up, and everyone would know if you were playing because they'd drive by those intersections and you'd be covered. So, and after a while, we stopped making these kind of flyers and I had my paints and I just paint stuff. Dog named Blue. It's funny, too bad we didn't put the years on these.
Second annual
Janine's second annual birthday party.
So she's
Invitation only. Janine went back and put invitation only on. Enough respect. Red and gray. This is my buddy. He was one of the first guys on the block to get PageMaker. So all of a sudden the stuff started getting computer printed. But and then came self-coloring your flyers. And then this was the era when color copying was less than $1 a copy. So all of a sudden people would color.
Electric Circus. That's my stepsister's band.
Oh yeah?
Well, they're not around anymore. I forgot what she's called. Something now. Friday Night Simon or something like that.
Well, yeah, I'm good friends with all those guys. Mike Waltz, Saul Henson, Gary Dutra.
Dutra, yeah.
Yeah. Gary's getting it back together.
That's she's married to Gary Dutra.
Oh, she is. Wow.
I don't know if they are now. She was my stepsister as a child. Then my mom and her dad broke up. So.
DEA career opportunities. Join the selective war on drugs. Woo! I guess I thought about that for a minute. Jupiter Coyote. A little bit for Jimmy.